released in 2014, titled The Violations of Perceptions Trilogy, Bank Robber, which came out not only in the form of a record, but rather a narrative music story. In 2017, he released his album titled Permanent Research, suggesting one of the key principles of the artist. In my opinion, it also applies to one of the main themes surrounding his output, an existential research. When I listen to the composition All Cops Are Made in China, that also appears in the form of a short movie.
Hello, hello. Check, check. If you can hear me.
Later on, he released another album, followed by 25 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Igor. Or Igor. Hi, Nikolai. Another Friday. It's October already. How's everyone? How's your week going, guys? Hello, я на каникулах. So last two videos I was talking about Y Combinator. This Friday I have no agenda. So let's just talk. Maybe you have some lot questions. You know, not every Friday. We try to have some big Fallout update every Friday. Um, no updates on product side. We are still working on it. However, there's an interesting event happening tomorrow in Moscow, which will be organized by one of lot users, lot community users, Ilya. So we are continuing the tradition where um, community can grow by itself, kind of, with the right people and the right approach. I love this poster. So tomorrow, if you know the place, I guess. Special thanks to Ilya for being so passionate. Really, he's really trying to understand where we coming from with lot and understanding the approach. So really appreciate it. I'm thinking the only right approach to this is just like that. Just do it. And if it's getting any traction, we most definitely will implement it, include to the conversations, build tools around that. really most of the lot developed that way. It may be hard to see in the past 4 years the development, but from my perspective, a lot of things were done just like that. Someone was just, right, let me do this. So this Moscow meetup is very exciting. What else? Yannick Nicol asking what's gonna be. I really don't know. I think that's the point. It's the trust to see how, I guess, how people interpret a lot, and in a healthy meaning of that word, how people would use lot. So hopefully we'll see something from Ilya, and we will report back. I'm trying to think, this week I haven't even been to internet that much, to be honest, so maybe maybe I missed something. I can share this one thing with you. Hold on. Just so we have the conversation going. Basically, I'm working right now on this. I'm working right now on the planning to so we can switch the subscription from this package approach that we have and had before to this modular approach. So we already, as I said many times, we already tested it last year, so we know it works, but it was a prototype. So now we're trying to build this as our only product, because if you think about it, and I also talked about this many times, that every experience can be separated by modules. Some modules can be free, some paid, some digital, some physical. This is just a structure of your environment. And so right now, if you go to lot page, you can, now it's due to pandemic and everything, we're sold out. But if you follow this path, you will have to subscribe to this one experience, this one package. So we have to rebuild this. Even if you go to subscribe through community, you still subscribing to basically to Lot OS. And then once you subscribed, you are in this OS dashboard, which right now represents community, the modules in your profile, right? So all this will stay. But we need a new flow where just from the landing page, I can go to basically subscribe to modules. Because explaining to people that you have to subscribe to Lot OS and then switch a module inside Lot OS is a little bit too much. I mean, few people know, but we working on opening up the physical products back through modules, so that's where we need subscription from the landing page. So I'm trying to plan that, and that requires a lot of changes inside the system, actually, including the way we've been shipping, logistics, some fulfillment tools. So like it's that is a simple change from a user perspective, right? I just subscribe to a module, say socks, or maybe I subscribe to socks and t-shirts and sound, and then I hit subscribe, boom, I'm in, it's already on. But for us to rebuild this, we need to change quite a few things, like even the way we store the data, this kind of stuff. So that's always the I guess the hardest part is the backend, and especially the hardest part about backend I figured over the years is that it's very hard to make it abstract. It's usually set up for a very precise task, and once the task changed, then it's very hard to change the backend. So like I said, the whole thing is around the one package with multiple items that comes from one button. We move into that button solution a little for the future. Now we open up modular plan, so now we have to change the flow. So we also have questions, as you know. We have questions in the app that we still trying to push through Apple, because it turns out to be the hardest part, not to build the app but actually to send it through Apple. So until that battle is going on, now we have to add some features to the app, so they can let us in, whatever. But we have questions in the app and in Lot sync here. So stuff like we need to unify the database of the answers and have some internal tools to work with data, etc. So these things are on my mind right now. I'm thinking that we have pieces that needs a little bit of oiling so the system can get back to work. By the way, if you want to take on any of these tasks, maybe you know how to build something. Like, for example, you know how to help us to update design on Shopify, make it better. Or maybe you're interested to work on questions engine. So we have system in place, we have prototypes in place. Now I guess it's time to develop each section properly and think about it as a product, because at this point with Lot we have a fixed amount of components. So all this time we spent to understand what components we need and which we don't. So from my point of view, all those developments that we're doing right now and been happening last year are fundamental. Even the event that's happening tomorrow is very important, because eventually you can imagine this can be one of the tabs here, where you can set up your event, or you see which events are coming, or you can connect. Maybe there's a board with lot users. Like that stuff should be here. Oh, you probably don't see my so after profile, so like a fourth tab here, or maybe it's in sync organized somehow. But it's first starts from the simplest prototype, just a bunch of people doing it by hands. Then we start to think on optimization, automation in the same time, putting budget to it, putting deadlines to it. So now I think we have all the components there that were very abstract in the past and are very precise right now. I mean, to how you say, to the best knowledge, right? Of course, I understand that in 5 years they'll be even more precise, but right now, this kind of understanding of all the components of the processes and what to do next is crucial. So that was a good year. That was an amazing year, actually. That's the recipe. What it do? Agree. Tactics. Really like the price change from 99 to 100. Yeah, something about it. But it's such a tricky trick. I don't know what's the right one, because sometimes, for real, it's more comfortable to see 99. It's 100, but it's just more comfortable to see 99. Seeing 100 sometimes feel like brutally honest, but it's not as comfortable for some reason. I wonder if it's programming, or the programming is based on some just nature. Igor, will you have Android app? Just notice that now you have only iOS. Um, it's only a question of development, meaning resources, meaning money. So the story engine the story engine is independent from the platform, so it can be displayed through desktop, iOS, Android. So Android is just like OS, is just interface, but iOS is only easier to build as a first stage. That's the reasoning. There's no political agenda. Maybe a little bit. Ones and zeros just look better. Maybe. That's why um, I even showed this in last videos, that approach where the price, there's no fixed price. The price based on combination of modules. Also, combinations of modules trigger discounts. Something work better with something. So, like, if you get, say, T-shirt, um, socks, underwear, and uniform, maybe uniform comes 50% off or something, or 20% off, or socks come for free, whatever. So I think, and that of course will be transparent, so no games there. But point is that because of those discounts, shipping, the calculation of price will be very different. So you're not buying anything kind of once, you're subscribing to what you need, say, next month or next 2 months. Then you switch on, switch off. So it's ideal situation where none of us will have similar price because it's based on location. It could even based on loyalty, like the user with us long time, etc., etc., etc. So there could be so many things that affect the price that yeah, there'll be no fixed price. You will control the whole thing, of course, shipment, modules, but once again there'll be no fixed price, and especially in Arkham in the future, near future, that's where yeah, we'll all have different. It'll be from $9 to $3,000. So that's, you see, that's exactly the change that we have to go through, because right now we have just one fixed price, and that's kind of the nature of this whole change, where this is right now, if you think about modular system, this is misleading, because what it has to be is where you can kind of pre-calculate already what's the value of your entire setup will be. So you're picking 3 modules you see in already. This will be, say, approximately, yeah, let's say 200 per month. Then you can play maybe what's on your budget, and then how much you're willing to spend per month on those topics: hygiene, socks, underwear, accessories. That's exactly the change. And we talked about this, but the change is not only, it's not a cosmetic change, it's not a product, it's not even only product change, it's also a business change, because it was extremely hard for us to maintain healthy margins, because you always have to fulfill $100 package, and it's kind of, the result of that is very interesting, where 50% of people would say, I love it, there's so much stuff in every package, and then another half would say that there's too much stuff coming. So, and I figured it's only because the value of $100 is different for everyone. So having better margins for us, more transparency for you, still keeping the experience there, because you're not buying anything, you're subscribing to a subject, to a topic, is the answer to my taste. So the price should be dynamic. And in the future, you can imagine where we have our own currency and we have our own reward system. So some of users will probably spend way less on lot subscription because they contribute something. Maybe someone invest and their lot bank made some money, so now they can use a few months off or a year off. Maybe there's a referral program where you get certain discount on certain modules if people that you invited are active, stuff like this. So the goal is that it doesn't matter, the price doesn't matter. You just, with one click, you can see the transparency of it, and it will be as fair as possible, with understandable, like where the money goes. But you don't need to see this, because once the trust is there, once this is a system that, and especially you can imagine at some point at scale we can add blockchain systems to that, so it's all recorded. Then it's really going to be different, because now you see the price and you trust it. Because if you need to check what goes into that, you can see it up to the source materials in a way. And then it's all becoming just about how much you're willing to spend per month on that ritual of your life. And I like how, of course, it's a little tricky, but I like how Steve Jobs would always say, if people like it, they buy it. If they don't like it, they don't buy it. Of course, there's a lot of marketing and manipulation involved. We're trying to do the same thing without marketing and manipulation. But this is as transparent as it can get. Like in previous version, you needed to send email to us so we can unsubscribe, because the production cycle was impossible otherwise. You subscribe, you send us email, you unsubscribe. Should we pack you with personalized stuff? I know that email system allow us personalization. So now we tested that. We're confident to make that the subscribe unsubscribe button is just right here. You don't have to write us email. You don't have to go to any hidden pages. There's no hidden fees, nothing. Just that's the confidence of this product. Where, say, socks, say $29, I click. That means that automatically I receive a pack in the months between. I mean, I receive it as soon as possible, but that'll be my package for next month. So if I switch it off right away, it still means that I already paid for this 1 month. But if I keep it, say for another 20 days, then it goes to the next month, So that's kind of trust we want to build, where we're not selling you anything that you don't need. So if you don't need that much of socks, you probably can adjust the frequency, or if you just don't like the socks, you just switch off. That's it. I feel that this is a bulletproof solution for the next few years at very least. And that solution will allow us to build. Also, the price is different in every country, because once we switch to local manufacturing, or we'll be forced maybe to switch to local manufacturing, the same pair of socks that made in Shenzhen at a different price that made in US or in Russia. So if you locally here, your socks, if you subscribe to socks and it turns out that's a local module, then you'll have to pay more, because the infrastructure is not there yet. Yes, and this will allow decentralization, because in theory, every module can be owned by department at lot, or by independent department, joint venture, etc. So this becoming a dashboard to your daily life. How does the SMS work? We'll see. Igor, I noticed that you are going to use Stripe, but if I'm not mistaken, it's not working in Russia and you have lots of subscribers here. I plan to use an alternative. So we already use Stripe and we accept payments in United States. That's an American entity. So that's why Stripe worked for us. So then people from Russia paying us, they pay into American company. Probably we will not use any alternative. I think Stripe is the best. Without Stripe, a lot will not be possible. They took a big part of payments. We customized it, but they took big part of payments. I mean, almost the whole thing, of course. I'm for this approach to use the services that, you know, and soon there'll be um, automation services available. There obviously already plenty, but I'm just saying even more consumer oriented. AI solutions. So I'm only for using those things, because otherwise where you draw the line, you know, and in that extreme vision you have to build your own internet, which is defeats the purpose in a way. So if I always say, if we already store everything on Amazon, if we already use Stripe, so everything should be based on of these plugins. And I think it's a very noble thing to build those plugins like Stripe, you know, or Shopify. I love. I'm pretty sure eventually there'll be some um, tools coming from Lot as well that can be either open sourced or sold that other people can use. But that only comes with scale, with more automation, optimization. Until that point, there's no need to build a custom software. What else? Tactics. Yes, sound supposed to be in sync here, and it's built, but we are waiting for the right moment and right people. And also that flow that I said before, with modular from landing page, will change the way the sync operates and community module operates. So decision was made that first we have to build the modular flow, modular subscription flow, then add things on top. Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Igor? Игорь? Игорь? Игорь или Игорь? Или Игорь правильно? Hi, hi Igor. How are you doing? I wonder if people hear us, but let's try. Can you hear me? Right. I'm curious if people hear. How are you doing? Oh, that's cool. All good. Yeah, everything is amazing. So what do you think about this part, the OS? Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it takes a lot of time, but I'm thinking that there's has to be a way where it takes a lot of time to build the full feature, but it takes very little time to start something. So I really try to follow the philosophy where you have to start it and then build, because once you start it, it's not exciting anymore. So now you have just to work on it, because until you just building it kind of in the full feature, it's very often dies out. I don't know if we can hear you. Right, hold on. That was a good call actually. So we just talked to Igor about features. I know that I was the only, you didn't hear him, but he said that he's an engineer, and so we have very aggressive deadlines for things, and that things takes time to build. Agree. My answer was that the full feature might take years to build, but the inception of the feature should happen as fast as possible. What do you think? Polina Gorbacheva is saying, what's the deal with OS? When the rest of the modules will be added? I don't feel like there's enough value only in community section. That's a valid question. So what we're doing with OS right now in community module is that we are restructuring a lot and waiting for the pandemic kind of settle and we understand how we move further, because having a business where we had to ship things internationally, this was extremely damaging. So over the past year we been restructuring a lot internally as a product, so it become OS, something that we've been wanted to do from day one. And so community serving right now as this group of people who have first hand access to things. We're in touch. Matthias is doing incredible job to be in touch with everyone, so you have full access to us. This is only happening during this time, so we appreciate. Think about it as donation button basically with access to the team. So when we released the app on test flight, first the only users actually who got the link was community members. So next features, next products will be available to community members. If we need help, if we're looking for someone, we're first looking for community members, because we understand that's like super fans, super special group of people that support a lot on other way. You actually giving us money, so we can continue this. So I think that spirit will be very hard to maintain with scale, and that's why this moment is good. But answering your question about the modules, we're working on that. We will not be able to get back the full package, but we will be able to get some of the modules back with physical products. And yeah, that's the priority. So that's mostly question of pandemic, first of all, because the world changed completely. The people think about it differently. It's harder to do some things, but also simply resources, not only for, because what we did last time when we launched, we built products based on your money. So you subscribe, we make product, but the team was paid or not paid with their own money, our own money. So now we reach the point where we have to it's not only about products. Like, say we can open subscription right now, and right now you can subscribe to some products, but internally we can't go back to that mode because we on a different stage. So now we have to have resources to build teams and build regional teams, etc. Meaning that we are trying to restart this as lean as possible, but it's going to be a different lot, obviously, which is set for scale. So over the next 5 years, we'll see its full potential. In that case, I completely agree with Igor that it will take time to build every edge case, understand users more, figure out the proper manufacturing process, etc. But we can't wait till that moment, and so we also can't just sit and build something And we see results of that approach with Magic Leap, for example, some automotive brands, new brands. Like, you can't build it in capsule; it's impossible. So what you witnessing right now is a working prototype. So everything that's happening in Lot, it's reflected there. It's I don't think that that's normal. I also don't think that that's common, because what we usually see is a packaged thing. And if there's some changes in the company, if there's some, you don't see it. Like, there's this storefront sales. We with Lot doing opposite. We removed that storefront completely, and so everything is just reflection of what's going on. That's it. So short version is that community, think about it as Patreon button. You helping us build a lot further. As soon as we ready, mentally, financially, as a team, we will restart modules. That's the priority. But just restarting modules for the sake of restarting modules, we can't. We already done this, many times over past 3 years. Like, we switched the thing entirely. So now we found the solution. We have to build it properly. Tactics. Paline, global pandemic. Yeah, that and I think that this global pandemic just helped to understand life better from all sides: personal, business, relationships, at work, non-work, what is work, all that stuff. And I guess, to be completely honest with you, since we on this TV show, I would say that before we were trying to prove that this is the shit. Now it is obvious for everyone. We don't have to prove. So now, back to Igor point, we are building it the way it's supposed to be. So we don't have to run for immediate result. We already did this every month, in the past 3 years and in the past 10 years. And that all commotion was to find the right solution and understand what we're actually trying to solve. Is this, and I know this is like super cliche language, but it puts things in perspective. It's like, what I'm going to work for the next 20 years of my life, So you pick it, and once you picked it, you're confident that, all right, it's going this direction. So we've been trying all kind of approaches, and running, non-running. I feel that the only approach is to build it incrementally. The only way to do that is to have people who love doing that. And that means that there has to be a shared goal, a shared vision, which we have. And that was another work that we put. And Paline, thanks to you guys, we did that. Like, while you were subscribed to community, we were able to get to that diagram of understanding an arc, understanding what's the vision for Lot. So I feel that, and maybe it sounds a little delusional, but I feel that we offer this R&D idea to the community, said, let's do this together. And we actually did. And I know some people see, some people don't see those results, or see their contribution. They don't see their contribution, but it's definitely there. So yeah, it's just the next stage. And I can imagine how, for an observer or a Lot user, this can be extremely frustrating. But think about it in 10 years perspective, where we have to be. And it's just, no matter how painful it is, to me, I have to make a decision where I'm saying this is where, and it's just, based on spreadsheets and stuff, not just intuition, right? We need to be here. What it takes to be there in the next 3-5 years. And so modular, first step, working with community on different level, understanding how community can be um, healthy. So we have these meetups. To me, it's all processes that we have to build one after another. And um, like we can do, say, right, we can do community meetup right now. Like just let's go. I'm in Moscow, we can meet. But then what about next one? And then what about next one? So it's going to depend on me? No, it can't. It has to depend on community itself. So what is a lot role of that is to help to curate it and make sure that it's safe, fun, and there's no this vibe that we're trying to get rid of. It's something new life. So once you get there, what is the process and the system behind that approach? So we can have meetups every month, and it's healthy, it's not corporate, etc. So that's the most time where that's where the most time go. I only believe, it's there's a joke that we have is that at lot it's like in Google they say whatever it's 30%, 30% you do whatever you want, 70% you do like Google routine, which is bullshit because you end up doing all Google routine. But we're really trying to build a system here where you have 30% routine and 70% anything you want to work within the universe. And that's the reason for the universe. You still have to do it for a lot, but it's such a broad universe that you can pick anything. Because there's from food to kids to art, like it's endless. And then you have to contribute 30%. And so I believe in that formula. I try to be this way myself. So contribute routine every day, and that I'm thinking the key. So as soon as the incremental growth is there, just incremental ships are there, we good. So um, if you don't see something, it doesn't mean that we can't fix it right away. But I'm always thinking we can fix a button overnight, but can we fix the system behind it? And that's the question. And so until fixing the system, how can you fix the button? You know? Pauline is saying it would be great to include tutorials in community. Yes, a lot TV. You're welcome to start one. The goal for this channel is to have 24/7 streams. So if you have an idea and you want to contribute, please join. Lot University sounds amazing. I think this is what we're doing now. Design. Pauline is saying Orange is asking which kind of tutorials Pauline wants, and she's saying Cinema 4D or design. But that's the tutorial right here. You know, that's definitely design tutorial to me. Is that design is a very complex thing. I mean, the product design is a very simple thing, but the product, the mess that you have to. So I kind of tried this approach where we create mess as artists, and then use design to make a product. Then we switch to artist mode and create mess again, and then designers come in and they make it a product. So I think that's the approach, and that's the ultimate design. You know, I guess you're asking for more practical things, like the actual software and stuff, tricks, software tricks. Curated by Joe. Yeah, he kind of doing that. That's the recipe. Will companies be able to place high volume orders through LoadOS? At the beginning, we had this team module, and the idea was that once you subscribe to team module, you have a set of, it's like basically like a army squad. So you receive not an individual package, you receive like for your division. So there'll be customized uniform, there will be things that you might need as a team. So it and also includes some personal hygiene. So I'm thinking that's something that we can do. But you can't. That's a recipe. If everything goes the way it planned, there'll be no way to buy stuff, right? You can only subscribe, and so that's by default kind of cancels the idea that someone can buy more than one, because it's still curated package, so you can only subscribe to this much. But maybe the team plan is what you're saying. Pauline is saying, by the way, I admire what you're trying to build. It's a very different approach, and it takes guts to keep pushing further. Thank you very much. I always say that we're doing this together. You being here and asking these questions and challenging the system, that's what builds a lot. And keep saying this, that in retrospective, that's the secret sauce, where we brainstorm this openly, that allow us to not be focused on small mundane things and trends and worry about some unimportant things, and be focused on the product and making it completely transparent. Like, I never seen anything like this where people just expose what they're doing, but I absolutely convinced that that's the only way to get to the best product. And so only with you guys that's possible. So right now I feel that that's the healthy formula going on. So thank you for being here. Yeah, like some kind of family plan, right? Where you can receive a package with all kind of stuff. But you see, that kind of thing is extremely hard with previous version. With modular plan, that's very simple, because now it's just theme module, and it knows what you have there. Maybe you have some personal preferences, and team, it might ask you like, are you representative of the team? How many of you? Ask you for a few questions right there. We distribute some invitations to people so they have their profiles, and then combine the information to the team plan. Like, that's very interesting, you know, because the grand idea here is that the physical environment will operate the same way your Spotify playlist or subscription operate. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how simple it's supposed to be. And we're also doing it extra hard by not trying to be corporation, by going away from these norms of how you can do this, because that's also not that's really not a personal choice. This is just necessary steps to get to the promised idea. Apple is amazing, but that product is not built by people. In a way, it's built by people, but not by all people. So that's why it has its flaws. Corey asking, one of my favorite parts about lot shipments was the feeling of an underlying narrative. How are you thinking about that moving forward? Yeah, absolutely. Of course. That's the foundation, the philosophy. The formula is this. We try to get together to some common sense. Validate it as a group. Look at ourselves in the mirror and see if that's not crazy. If that's not crazy, that means that there is some kind of philosophy that works for a better life. There's one way to write a book about that. There's another way to build that philosophy into things we use every day, multiple times per day. So the narrative never was or is a gimmick, just decoration. Narrative is a mirror of what's going on in the world and inside lot. So yeah, if anything, the narrative will be on steroids, because you think about the app where you input your information, so that narrative can be personalized. I can go on for hours about that. If we stumble upon some kind of philosophy, in quotes, religion, then we can build tools around that to help people to live better. And I feel like the only way to say that, because you start to preach, you're crazy. But if that philosophy is incorporated in products, then everyone can see the real value of that approach. Say, that's not, of course, this is cliche, but like it's beyond minimalist, it's something else, where it's a different approach to happy life. So 100% the philosophy, the narrative is the most important part of lot. And products is the medium how we talk about that philosophy. Polina Gorbacheva asking, why don't you crowdfunding instead of YC? I'm against crowdfunding because I think that sets, in that sense, I think that I'm capitalist, because I think that crowdfunding is very misleading, extremely misleading, and it comes to deep view on just like voting system. And I can give you example, and I don't know if it will answer. I'm thinking that the flaw with Kickstarter, having experience in hardware and product design, is that they would push people to design a thing, be it a game or be it a physical product, a scooter, and they would design it as the final version, which is correct thing to do. Like, this is the final version of my scooter. This is what we want to build. Like, isn't it going to be crazy if we have this thing? Everyone, yes, of course, that would be amazing if we have this thing. So they basically vote. They give you money. But then you go into production, and it's like someone said, if you don't change anything, that means that product is bad. There's absolutely no way that your product will not change. Maybe completely, dramatically. And that's just the nature of startup, of starting anything. So if there's an ambition for just a product, it doesn't work already, Kickstarter, because people say they buy these headphones, but that headphones is the future vision of what, but they bought that future unit, right, with their money. But now there has to be V0, V1, developers version, and maybe like an ugly version and bigger version and version that doesn't work, then maybe small run version that works. Like it's a long process to build something like that. And so in that case, subscription makes more sense because you can't buy a future thing from a team who never did it. It's just it's misleading, and we're not even trying to build um, a product. We're trying to build a company, you know. So imagine we have to crowdfund for the company, and then how much we can take from that. Like we can't, you know. So we need everyone basically turn investors, and we need millions and millions of people to fund us. And so if we have millions and millions of people to fund us, that means that we can raise hundreds of millions of dollars and set up a proper production. You can say, I can say whatever about Silicon Valley, but they somehow got the natural progression. Like this is, I'm 10 years on this journey with building a company, launching product, and I can tell you that the timing is very similar, some kind of pattern. Be it Labka, it's same things happening, exactly same things. So when I listen what people say Y Combinator, and I'm just being honest. I am yeah, I see that they got that timing right. So they understand the nature of things that you can force, and even the concept of hypergrowth is, they always like, they say, look at this company, it's hype, you know, it's like it's growing too fast. But then you look at actual history of the company, now it's going just according to the schedule. And so I'm thinking that that schedule is what we after with YC. Because it's not only about dollars, and for something like we're doing, it's very hard to put value and how much you personally can invest to help us, and how often this should happen. And you see what's happening with Kickstarter people. They're saying exactly that. They say, look, we didn't know that it would be so complicated. We look at us, we're dying here. Like they're living in the factory and stuff. We can't ship it. It's impossible. We have to go through like waves of production and manufacturing. Then maybe we can get to this version. People like, oh, you know, this is fake. This is a lie. Like, no, this is just reality. So in a way, Kickstarter can be more like, um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just don't want to go too deep about this. So the community module, I think, is exactly that. Like, community module is our crowdfunding, because that seems like we give back information. We uh, we're working for you guys. We're reporting to you. We're having the phone calls. We're having the streams. So we're working for you. We open up this in return of community. Now, community guys, community users paying for all of us basically, because this is eventually, as I said, this has to be private, only to community members, not to the world. But we just this is a different stage. I could envision governments signing up their citizens to vote. That sounds crazy. Imagine that. Right, that's another update. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you, Igor, for tuning in. And I would love to talk more with you about the approach to software. So we can connect on Telegram or and stuff, and just because I want this to be built with fun, live, not as a feature to ship. You know, because same thing happens with features, just like I talked about the company or a product, where this is how it's supposed to be. Then you really start to ship it, and you ship it, you work with users, you use it the product by yourself. That's important part. You play with the product. Naturally, your brain have to be engaged, and you have to start continuing it by yourself, building it further. You know, if you don't, that means that you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to do. And so, kind of, I see that the list of features that the features that we need to build is only in inception, is to engage the conversation. Because once you have that and the whole team is working on things, maybe we don't need this feature entirely. Maybe we need this one. Maybe we can build this thing, because it's different brains. That's the whole point of the team, you know. But so said that, I would even say that if the team works on its proper capacity, that means that we're actually doing things even faster, because a lot of things can be just eliminated, changed. The approach can be changed. I really don't believe in this approach. As much as I have to do this, I don't believe in an approach where, all right, build this, you know, just exactly this. That's soul crushing. No one wants to do that. And that's why, guys, it taking so much time, because um, you know, only now I'm thinking to kind of start, because it's so precise, the vision. I'm thinking that we need to start um, creating like a basically tasks, you know, like you do this, you do this, you do this. But before that, let's think about it. We never had that. By design, we didn't have tasks. You see a lot, you see what's going on, you contribute. And that turns out to be the only way to see the best people, you know. So yeah, I still don't believe in that approach of, well, because that someone talks from perspective of give me task, I will fix it. Without task, I'm not going to do this. That eventually will be a lot of people at lot. It's inevitable. But at this stage, we're only looking for people who builders, and that's why once again it's taking longer than it can take, you know. So I would say that, to finish this conversation, I would say that it's not only a question of money, it's also a question of right approach. So what we're doing in front of your very eyes is trying to find that approach for a company like Lot to grow. Paulina is asking, how big is Lot team? If you calculate everyone that's involved and some capacity or another, I would say around 15. That people that willing to join once we have more resources, some people are on standby. I would say around 15. If you people who contribute daily, 4. Frederick is saying, love your way of thinking on projects. Thank you very much. Guys, please send your, if you're in community, let's make it valuable. I agree. Let's add more stuff. Send your thoughts, send your images, like Tyler, Ilya, so we can see which tools are missing, what can we add, and go from there. Everything at Lot you see is in motion, so stay tuned. I think that's a very fun ride to watch. And mark this moment, because in a year, that's when we can measure uh, and see the differences. And I think that will be very exciting. All right. Appreciate everyone. And until next time, thank you. Please stay tuned.